Welcome to Coffee Time with Brenda and Mary.
What are we talking about today?
Well, you know how we go. We just go with the flow.
Okay, then let's go.
Today we're talking about kids because the last time we talked about kids, we got a lot of messages about people that actually resonated with that they really have a lot of fear and worry about their kids and what their kids are doing and saying. And so we got a lot of messages from that. And Brenda, you've been able to help a lot of kids with some interesting things.
And that's why I'm so happy, because I have this blessed gift. When kids come to me and parents have taken their kids to doctors, to therapists, and nothing's working, their last resort is, let's try an energy worker. Now, the neat thing is, there's a lot of energy workers out there that I bless their souls, and I reach out to them to thank them, that will assess these children and say, oh no, I'm not touching them. There's something seriously wrong here, and it's demonic. They need somebody else. And they found out me through somebody else or on a YouTube video that this is something that I'm blessed to do. I can help release these children from demonic energies, spiritual attachments. And one thing I would like parents to understand, children as young, very young, and children older, they can pick up things. So these are the signs I want you to look for. It is so important for parents to get out of their fear, because they don't want anything to be wrong with their children.
Right.
So they want to ignore the obvious. But there are many parents out there right now that are dealing with children who are self-hurting, self-harming. They are talking very negative, sometimes in a different voice, sometimes swearing where it's not appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they have things happening in their bodies that don't, maybe like a tick or a certain way they're moving is different. Sometimes they're asking to watch horror movies, which are not allowed in the house.
Or sometimes even that one person was drawing really dark things as a child, and their parents didn't understand where they were getting the idea to draw such dark and awful things.
Yeah, sometimes parents will show me these really demonic drawings and say, my children drew this. I'm like, wow, they're very talented, but look at what's in there.
Yeah. And
it's very scary things. So parents get scared. They're embarrassed. They don't want to tell anyone. Don't tell your friends you're doing this. We don't want anyone to know. First off, please let the embarrassment go. This is happening much more commonly than people know. Get the children help. Get them help. Do not be scared to ask your child, are you hearing voices? Sometimes I sit with a parent and a child the first time I meet them, and I ask the child, are you hearing voices? And they say yes, and the parent looks freaked out. They've gone to doctors for the last 2 years. Nobody asked this child, are they hearing voices?
wow.
Sometimes they pick up these entities, and the entities in their field are telling them to hurt themselves. Imagine, the dark energy on this planet is at the highest it's ever been. And they're really trying to pull humanity to the darkness to give them the energy they need to stay on planet Earth longer. On the other hand, the people working for the light, the beings of light, are working harder than ever to bring us out of the darkness and pull us into the new world of light.
So Brenda, this is so easy for you to talk about and to speak about. And, I hear you talking about demonic and kids, and my brain doesn't want to go there. Like I have trouble believing this is all true until I hear your stories that a kid came when it was doing this, and then you treated them, and then the kid was better and stopped it. And that's the only way that I can wrap my brain around that you have something to offer these families who have been everywhere else.
Yeah, and I know it's scary, it's uncommon. It's actually not uncommon in my world. In my world, it's actually very common. I talk about it very easily because I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen so many transformations where children will come in with their parents. The parents usually sit in the other room, it's an exorcism with love. The kids don't know. I just tell them, listen, we're going to make you feel better. We're going to get rid of those voices inside you because you're a magnificent being and we're surrounded by angels. Let's do this. The kids are so excited, and they'll tell me things that they've never told anyone because I don't have judgment. I don't freak out when they tell me. I'm very calm because I've heard it all.
Yeah.
You know, one time, many years ago, when I first started doing this, I had a little boy come in with a mom. And she wanted to know if something was wrong with her child. So the kid did not like me right away. It wasn't the child not liking me. Sometimes they are so overcome by their darkness. It's the dark being that's making them act that way. So I gave this one boy a rock. I said, hey, do you like this rock? He threw it and it hit my head. And I told Mom, this boy has something in there that it's pretty severe. You need to bring him in. And she goes, he doesn't want to come. I get it. He's 7 years old. He doesn't want to come. It's not the boy doesn't want to come. It's the entity that's attached to them. Think about it like this. If they can get in through a child, and that child brings home an entity, and the child is causing havoc in the home, fighting with the siblings, screaming and yelling, causing havoc, to the point where these entities, if they go untreated, will come to the point where they're actually trying to take the life of a child. And this happens with adults too. So we have a lot of parents reporting, my son, my daughter tried to end their life and I caught it in time. And they've gone through therapy and this, but it's not going away. The entities will talk to them. And I was possessed. All my life, I had an entity inside me telling me to end my life, kill yourself, you're not worth it, you're never going to make it.
This was you as a child?
Yes. And it was only until more recently, I did 15 years of healing for it to really reveal that I had a possession that has tried to get rid of me all my life because the dark side knew what I'm capable of. Helping people shift out. So that's why it doesn't scare me. This stuff doesn't scare me because I understand the energy, I understand how it works. And remember, the most powerful energy on this planet is the frequency of love. We're talking unconditional love that comes from divinity.
Yeah, because I know parents that are afraid of their children, actually. And so they're feeding maybe some of that darkness. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, sometimes you don't want to upset the child. The child throws the whole house upside down. But if it continues, that child may start self-harming. They might escalate.
Yeah.
So if you start noticing your child's demeanor is changing, whether it's they're starting to drool and it's not very good, they want to watch horror movies, they start yelling and screaming, they're not acting themselves. There's so many different ways. They can become more isolated, don't want to talk to their friends. There's so many different ones. I can't think of them right now. But if your child is not the happy-go-lucky child that child was once, please look further. Ask them questions. Are you hearing voices? See what they're doing. Investigate what they're watching. I don't care if they're 14 years old or 15. There's still our responsibility to say, hey, what's going on with you? Even when they're in their 20s. We can't force them to a session, but we can kind of bring into light that, hey, something might not be right with you.
Is this the kind of work that you can do from a distance, or is this something that they have to come and see you for?
It can be done by distance, but what I notice is a lot of clients that are dealing with these issues, if they can drive 3 hours to come, they will drive because they like the in-person.
Yeah.
But I deal with people across the seas that's not, feasible to come out.
Yeah.
So I do have success by doing it that, because when we're doing these sessions, we're in the quantum field, we're all connected. I tap into the energy and we work together. I know it's scary when your child is possessed, and it's like, that word even scary. So, okay, let's use spiritual attachment. But how do they pick them up? There's so many different, I'm just going to give some ideas out here. Perhaps you move to a new house, an older house, maybe just a house that was lived in that is haunted because something happened in it. Dark energy can be in a home that you move into. That dark energy can start to talk to children because they're young and they can hear, and it will start to give them impulses to do things that are not good. Watch something on YouTube that's scary. Now, There's so many of us that have our children have access to YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like my 9-year-old has access to YouTube.
Well, I can't tell you how many parents have said, like, since COVID, and all the time the kids spent up in their bedrooms and on their computers, that the kid has changed.
Yeah, it's because they're being influxed with negativity. It then opens a door. A spiritual attachment can come in. They could be at a grocery store. Something comes in. You bring them to the hospital to visit a loved one. That a human spirit could be walking into them. There are so many ways to pick them up.
So just to be clear, they're not walking into them. They're walking into their energy field.
Yes, into there. You're picking it up. It kind of
Yeah.
gets like pulled into your energy field. Now it's in your energy field.
Yeah.
And it's talking to your child. They're hearing it. It's giving them impulses. These negative entities, dark energies, cannot force someone to do something. What they do is give the impulse, the desire to do it. So, hey, watch this scary movie. Now the kid watches a scary movie and another thing comes in. Perhaps they bring something home and that item, like, maybe a skull or something like that, starts bringing things in and people are like, what are you talking about, a skull? It does happen, like a crystal skull, something like that, something scary. There's things, sometimes books, even those like a horror book. I remember now thinking back, I was in grade 6. I was so drawn to Stephen King's.
Oh, wow.
I was reading them. They were terrifying.
Yeah.
But that was a part of me that was bringing in more darkness into my life.
So look out for what your kids are reading as well.
Yeah, there's so many things. These are your children. These are the children of the future. Pay attention to them. Pay attention to what they're doing and get the help they need. And if it starts with therapy, great. But if that therapist decides, listen, we're not making progress, this isn't working, perhaps it's something more severe. I have energy workers that pass along or refer to me because they don't deal with demonic stuff. I have psychologists refer to me when they realize there's something more here. The great thing is, I always have 100% success. There hasn't been one case that the love of God and our ability to hold the light hasn't healed. I know we're running out of time here, but I dealt with cult energy. It is the darkest, most sinister energy on the planet, and the love of God, that love energy, conquered and won that, and the person is thriving now.
So even though all of this sounds scary, really, like we don't mean to give fear, right?
No, absolutely not.
It's more about hope. I think it's scarier for parents when they've tried different things with their kids and nothing's worked and they feel stuck because they don't know what else to do. So I guess we're saying consider this. And for me, even though I'm still learning about this and trying to figure it out and trying not to be afraid when you say some of those words, it's more about, okay, there's no harm done. Like, this isn't something where any harm can happen. So give it a go, I guess, if you're finding that your kids are hurting.
Yeah, and one more thing is, when those entities are removed, and that happens the first session, there is a healing process because these children have been in fear for a while. It's in their nervous system. So there are some other sessions sometimes needed to bring them back into balance. But the kids will say, the voice inside me is gone. And then they have to trust that they're safe again. And the whole family has to kind of reestablish that new routine of harmony, joy, and peace. So it becomes a family healing. But I've seen so many transformations, and I always ask for testimonials, but they give them anonymously because everyone's embarrassed about it. I think we should drop the embarrassment. It happens, but what we want to end this call with is the light, the love. That's where we're headed. It's the most powerful energy. Tap into it and allow yourselves, your families, to bring that love in and really flourish in these uncertain times.
Amazing. Join us on our free healing calls Tuesday nights. And if you want more information or a free consult with Brenda, go to www.sobrilliant.ca.
Thank you for joining us.
If you have any questions or comments, visit us at sobrilliant.ca.
Sending you lots of love and light.
Until next time.